What's up, everybody? It's Kids Got Game. It's been a while, but I'm back with my two uncles. Um, we didn't get to cover it last time, but today we're covering the NBA Finals. Obviously, we had the Knicks winning in five. What are you guys' thoughts?
Spurs, man, disappointment, huge disappointment. Losing is not the disappointment; it's the fashion in which they lost. They game two, they blew an opportunity to split. I remember it vividly. Tie game, Knicks they missed, and Spurs got the rebound. My initial thought is call a timeout, and then you drop your best play. You either win that game, or worst case scenario, you go into overtime. Instead, Wemby starts to dribble it up, throws a turnover, and we know how that played out. Then the Spurs handled business in game three. I'm like, all right. Game four was handling business, and then had probably the worst. No, not probably. They had the worst letdown. Slash, the Knicks had the best comeback in NBA Finals history. And then even at the end of the game, they had an opportunity to potentially do something. Fox gets the ball and up one, should have dribbled it out, got his shot blocked by OG Nobi. And then what I'm noticing about the Spurs history is in moments where they need bigs for rebounding purposes, they don't have him in there. Wemby was in the game, but he was on the perimeter. If you guys recall, against the Miami Heat, Popovich took out Tim Duncan, which allowed Bosh to get the rebound, kick it out to Ray for that three. So historically, they have that little issue. But yeah, congrats to the Knicks. They legitimately earned it, but huge disappointment from the Spurs.
Yeah, the Spurs, honestly, after watching that series, they just really weren't ready. They don't have a closer. I noticed, like, in clutch situations, the Knicks obviously have Brunson. He's one of the most clutch players in the league. The Spurs don't have a guy that they can go to get you those type of buckets. Like, their best player is Wemby, but he doesn't have a signature move that he can go to consistently to get them buckets.
My opinion of De'Aaron Fox, I don't think could have changed any more drastically
Yeah.
than after this series. Because going into the series, I was trying to look for little advantages, ways that the Spurs could match up and win things. And I said, yo, De'Aaron Fox, if he's healthy, he could be a closer, right? He could be a wild card, an
He
X
won
factor.
Clutch Player of the Year before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen De'Aaron Fox. Remember, Light the Beam. He can be electric.
Yeah.
So I said, he can be an X factor. Watch out for De'Aaron Fox. So I don't think he played in game one. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And they lost game one. So I'm like, okay, Fox is back for game two. Game two, back and forth. I'm like, okay, this is a game seven for the Spurs. You already lost game one on your home floor. Celtics fans already know how this goes. You lose game two at home. It's a wrap for you in the series. To Mo's point, how do you not call timeout after grabbing that rebound? Captain Clutch misses the shot, I believe.
Yep.
So you get a miracle. You get the rebound. Wemby grabs the rebound. There's less than 24 seconds on the clock. It might have been like 15, like
9.7.
like 9 seconds. You have one timeout left. You cannot lose this game. Anyone could have told you. Any couch coach, any high school coach, college coach, Mitch Johnson, you call timeout. You either win the game or you go to OT.
Yes.
So you can try to win that game to tie up the series 1-1. Wemby, I mean, he's young. And I get people want to blame Castle, but Castle's just thinking, hey, Wemby can dribble. He can bring this thing up. Like, it obviously looks like neither one of them talked about what was supposed to happen in that moment.
Right.
So you're not prepared for that clutch situation. It was just a disaster all around. I mean, you can replay that that turnover for years, right? One of the great blunders. Now, they handle business in game 3. Chance to tie it up in game 4. They're up big. The De'Aaron Fox blunder is also going to go down in history. How do you have not one but 2 moments in a final series that you can point to say, we could have flipped the series had those gone our way? So I agree with Mo 100%. Congrats to the Knicks. You take advantage of the opportunities. Yeah. You do what you got to do. They won. They beat everyone in their path. They won. You can't talk about their path or anything like that. They handled business and they won the championship. So congrats to them. But if I'm a Spurs fan today, I don't even know how to feel, because the future may be bright, right? But you had an opportunity to win a championship. You had an opportunity to put yourself in a good position to win a championship. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Maybe it goes to game 7 or something like that. You had your chance. You had an opportunity to put yourself in a good position, and it's just those 1 or 2 plays. So they don't know how to operate in the clutch. They don't have a closer. It's the same thing, in my opinion, that kind of happened to the Celtics when they were young and 22 against an experienced Warriors team. Although the Warriors had won 3 championships already, LeBron James said they lost because of basketball IQ, not knowing how to execute down the stretch. And obviously those guys, Steph, Draymond, Clay, they know how to operate, right? Steve Kerr, he knows what to do, right? Coaching circles around Udoka. So I think it was a little bit of that experience. Mike Brown knows what he wants to do. The Knicks played their guys. They played them deep. They pushed the right buttons, and they got it done. But the Spurs, so disappointing, that loss, and it's going to haunt them for a while.
Yeah, and to your point of Fox, like, even without that boneheaded play, he didn't really play well.
Played off
one time in that series.
Yeah, I thought he could be someone where they didn't really have someone for, because the Spurs have other guards, and obviously you got to play attention to Wemby. So Fox could be that guy who could just manipulate around the paint, kind of operate like Brunson, get into the paint, move around, hit a little floater. He could have done whatever he wanted. Damage. People gonna say the ankle stuff, but look, he didn't play well.
I can't. It's the grandest stage, right? And there's a reason he came back, because he realized this is the grandest stage.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna get back here. This is an opportunity for me to help our team win.
Yeah.
Now, the one shining moment for the Spurs was Dylan Harper.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan Harper, he showed he could do what he could do. However, a lot of people want to, say they were young, inexperienced. Realistically, the Knicks, their experience came from the year before when they went to the finals, the Eastern Finals Conference, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't think it's an inexperience when you're up 29 in the third quarter and decide to shoot, what was it? I think 8 straight possessions. You shooting a 3 when you're up 29.
That's how the Celtics lost.
The Knicks pushed them into that. They did the same thing to Boston too.
Yeah.
But the Knicks legitimately said, we're going to keep you out of the paint. Because what do you want to do when you're up big, right? You have a tendency to slow down the offense, just try to make sure you get a possession. You're not pushing the envelope. And the Knicks purposely baited you into taking the open threes, right? Or, keeping you out of the paint. And that's how they get back into games, because they know what they want to do on the other offensive end.
To that point, though,
Yeah.
The Spurs took their foot off the gas, because Spurs are an up-tempo team. They got 3-4 guards that are interchangeable that they want to, if you need a breather, hey, we'll get you a sub. To your point, they took their foot off the gas. In the NBA Finals, down 2-1 with an opportunity to go back home, tied 2-2.
I know.
If I got to beat you by 50, I'm going to do it. I'm not worried about nothing else.
That game was it.
Yeah, it was, like I said, the Spurs definitely disappointed me, but we got to give congratulations to the Knicks for doing what they do.
Yeah, they did what they did.
Special shout out to Jalen Brunson, because his plan worked. He took a major pay cut that everyone ridiculed, including myself, because I'm like, why would you leave that much money on the table? And it ended up panning out, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't clown him for the pay cut. I just thought that he knew I need to surround myself with, enough talent for us to do what we need to do. And look, the first round picks for Bridges, what they did for Anunoby, what they did for Towns, They built a team that says, we're going to hunt the Celtics. They didn't have to deal with them this time around, but they went after them last year, right? They put together a team that says, okay, if we can neutralize other teams' wings and perimeter shooting, and we can get offensive rebounds, let Brunson cook, their formula worked. It worked.
It did.
And Mike Brown was the right coach for them to do what they need to do. Brunson taking the pay cut, in my opinion, obviously it panned out, is smart. You want talent on the team. Yeah. Now, the second apron waits for no one. So whether you take a pay cut or not, right, I think they're going to have to make some decisions now in the next couple years. But they're bringing their team back this year.
Yeah, but I think with that being said, I think some guys are going to be looked at like, hey, our superstar took a pay cut. A person in mind that is going to have to take a team-friendly discount, for me, would be Mikal Bridges. I think he's the one guy that you can say, for what we gave up to get you, you haven't really – it didn't pan out to the point where we're like, all right, we feel good about this. There was questions about it. At moments and times, it was like, yo, we gave up all of this, and what are you really doing for us?
Yeah.
OG
yeah, sometimes he's just the body on the floor. Oh, OG was legit. Yeah, OG was worth it. Yeah.
Been there. Like, he's seasoned. He's been there and developed his game. He's won with Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if you guys can draw the correlation, but his demeanor, very Kawhi-esque. Doesn't talk a lot, doesn't really want to be in the limelight. He just wants to hoop and get out of there. But, yeah, big congrats to the Knicks, man.
And one last gripe with the Spurs. I believe it was Game 5. I saw the Spurs get out of a timeout, and out of a timeout, you can tell by their body language, nobody knows what they're doing. Like, you could tell Castle saying, what are we doing? Harper saying, what are we doing? Wemby saying, what are we... So I think that's, like... I respect their coach, but I think that has to be a coaching problem.
Yeah. That's part of the inexperience. It's not just, age is one thing too, but I think Mike Brown has coached in certain, finals. He's coached all over the place, and Mitch Johnson, he is not. And so I don't think he had, for certain situational, scenarios, he didn't have the Spurs prepared. And we go back all the way to Game 2.
The timeout blunder.
How do you not call timeout? I remember, I think I woke up a couple of people in the house because I'm standing there watching the game, and I screamed at the television for Wemby to call timeout. I'm like, call timeout. And then he turns it over. I'm like, how do you not call timeout? It was one of those moments where you knew where you were when Wemby threw it off Castle's back. Because I said, why did you not call timeout? Drop a play. You either tie the game. Sorry. You either win the game or you go to overtime because the game is tied. You don't give the ball back to the Knicks under any circumstances. I don't understand how they lost that game. And then blowing the 29-point lead is just, I mean, by then, like you might have had the series wrapped up by then, or at least getting ready to go home and win it. I don't. The Spurs are going to be disappointed, but congrats to the Knicks. I don't want to seem like I'm taking away from the Knicks. The Knicks won the championship.
That Fox play is going to go down in history with the J.R. Smiths.
Oh my goodness,
I
the
think
Fox play.
Also, at halftime of that Game 4, Method Man said Knicks in 5, while down 27 at the half. That just shows you that New York energy was different, and they believed it. And we've watched the entire series, right? So we've seen that the Spurs will get out to a quick jump.
Yeah.
The Knicks always fought back, so on and so forth. Nobody was worried in that game because they knew they can chip away. And then as you're watching the game and they start chipping away, it's like, all right, hey, if they get it to 20 by this point, if they get it to 17-ish by the start of the fourth quarter, it's like then anything can happen. And they just kept chipping away at that thing,
and then
wow.
And then the Garden went wild once they got their first lead. After that, I still watched because I wanted the Spurs to win, but I was like, all right, I'm pretty this game's over.
No, when the thing about this particular Knicks team, once they're within like 15, you're already in trouble. because they see down 15 or 20 as an opportunity. If it's like the third quarter or early fourth, they see that as an opportunity to really turn on the Jets, right, and work hard. It's kind of like they wear it as a badge of honor. We came back, right? They want to come back. That's their kind of their mentality, right? Everyone wants to build an identity. That's the Knicks' identity, right? They play through adversity. The Thunder identity is tough, physical, nasty defense, and they need a bucket, go to SGA. It's a very clear identity. The Spurs, I don't think, know exactly what their identity is going to be yet. And it showed up at times in that finals where they didn't know, does Fox handle it at the end? Does he slow it down and give it to Castle because he's going to be the guy? Is Wemby the guy we go to? I mean, I think it was that game, right? The last play, they drew up a play for Wemby. He had an opportunity to drive to the basket, maybe get fouled, and he pulled up for like a fadeaway at the free throw line. So I don't know that they quite know what the mentality is going to be. And that hurts you because the Knicks know exactly who they are.
But moving on, we got the highly anticipated Giannis trade. Got traded to the Heat for their whole team.
Pretty
What are your
much.
thoughts on it?
I'll start this time around. I always thought that Giannis might end up in Miami. All the talk about Boston, I think Brad Stevens was doing his due diligence. If you're going to explore trades to make the team better, it almost looks like you're not doing your job unless you explore a Giannis trade. So he has to do it, right? But I don't know that. I think that ESPN is also doing their job. They're reporting Boston was in it, Miami was in it, and they're drawing all that energy, right, and that excitement leading up to the draft. I think Miami and Milwaukee had a framework of a trade that they explored last year. Milwaukee said, we want more. They probably leveraged Boston against them. And then Pat Riley's like, all right, he upped the ante. Brad Stevens had a line he wasn't going to go past. He just wanted to explore it. And I was like, this is how it was always going to work out. Because if you're Milwaukee, I should say rather, would you rather have all this youth go into not necessarily tanking, all this youth, all the picks, everything like that, give yourself flexibility so you can see what your identity wants to be? Or do you say, we're going from Giannis, now Jaylen Brown is our number one guy. We got a couple other pieces to try to make other moves and do a mini, window going forward with Brown. I think ownership opted to go with Miami's youth and package and everything like that, right? Because that made more sense to them. I'm not surprised that that's the way that it went. So Giannis going to Miami, if given the choice, if Giannis really had the choice, I don't know why he didn't choose Boston. But maybe his family wanted Miami. I can get that, right? And he has a chance to play with Bam. And as long as you have Coach Spo, y'all can do some damage. But they're gutted. And I don't know what else they're going to do. I mean, the Bucks took them for everything. Still got Bam, Davion Mitchell.
Norman Powell.
They got Powell. Again, but these are guys who, although I like them, I mean, they're not necessarily considered stars. They are going to play hard, though. That's Miami's MO. Those guys are going to play hard. But really, it's going to be the Bam and Giannis show, right? And you need to try to get something else to go with them. You need to try to get some shooting. You need to try to, incorporate some other stuff like that. We'll see what Pat Riley does. I'm not surprised by the trade. I'm not surprised with him, his family choosing Miami, all that. I just think if I'm Giannis and I was serious about winning, that's not where I would have went. So
Yeah, I mean, and as good as Giannis is, I'm not sure that he got that much better. They lost all their, they can't spread the floor anymore.
yeah, they gutted the team.
Your best three-point shooter is probably Norman Powell, who's probably a decent three-point shooter at best. And
But they want him.
your front court is second to none. I think maybe the best front court in the league probably right now.
Definitely in the East.
Yeah, definitely the East.
I mean, so I was actually surprised, especially when I heard further details. Surprised in this manner. I'm surprised that Boston one, didn't want to add Jordan Walsh or another.
It's a little bit
It
more
was,
than that. People were saying it's a little bit more than just.
It
It was
was-
Ugo because I heard Ugo as well. It's a little bit more than that. They wanted so similar to what Miami did.
young guy or
They
something.
wanted not just one. They wanted all of the Celtics young guys. They
was-
wanted Shireman, Ugo, Walsh, and multiple first round picks and pick swaps plus Jaylen Brown. And that's where Stevens was like, whoa.
Yeah, see, I didn't hear
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of that details.
yeah.
I just heard it was like they wanted a young guy, and the name I heard was a Jordan Walsh. What I'm not surprised about, well, not necessarily not surprised. I was surprised about that, but then also Milwaukee surprised me. You don't have a spot that free agents are willing and ready to go to.
Yeah.
And what you just did isn't going to attract anybody to come there. You have nobody. Like Tyler Hero now is the guy.
Yep.
He's not going to be a draw to get free agents over there, anything of that nature, right? Had you had Jaylen Brown, he's a star, damn near superstar.
He was just an MVP candidate.
He could potentially get you somebody over there. Like he was a Finals MVP. He just came off the best season of his career.
And
That
he's got
can-
friends in the league.
Yeah.
That can help get some people to Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee's probably going to be what the Hornets have been. You know what I mean?
That's they could be a frisky team, right? A frisky playing,
get to the
maybe
Hornets.
maybe frisky
Maybe.
playing.
Like,
yeah.
And then I also don't think Tatum and Giannis would complement each other well. I didn't think that would have worked.
I think they would. It's because I think people misrepresent what Tatum actually is. He's a point wing.
Yeah.
So
but
him
Giannis
and
is
Tatum,
essentially a point forward if you think about it.
Giannis is not necessarily. Giannis does, in the open court, like after a turnover, he does do that, and you
Or
can let him
after
work in the
rebound.
paint, or after rebound, or let him work in the paint. But you want Giannis working off ball a lot of the time, and you want Tatum setting him up. I think they would have been a great duo. Tatum would be very happy as a point wing, facilitating and getting the offense going like that. He's not always looking to, I always got to get my shot. And I think Giannis would have been great with that. I think the duo would have worked fine.
I don't see that only because Tatum and Brown is going to attack. Brown will shoot, will give you spacing, right? That will allow Tatum to do what he needed to do, right? With Giannis, he gets the early Rondo treatment. We going to let you shoot. So whatever side that Tatum's on, we're going to sink into that side and allow you, Giannis, to shoot. And if you decide to drive, then the guy will step in, take a charge, whatever. Giannis is smart, right? I'm not saying.
I mean,
like
I think Giannis would have figured out the if they because Tatum's man's not gonna leave him.
Tatum's
Yeah.
guy stays on him, but the help, you get what I'm saying? The help is gonna gravitate towards.
But once it does,
That's why you don't
Giannis-
gut your team, because you need to have shooters. That's why you don't gut your team.
Once it does, Giannis is very good at dishing it out. Like when he's driving,
He's the best 3-point assist guy. So him and Tatum are like top 3 or 4 3-point assist guys, like for kicking off for open threes.
Yes.
Those two guys in the league.
I mean, when you say that, it's very impressive to hear because who's the 3-point shooters Giannis is throwing the ball to?
Well, you forget Milwaukee did win a championship in 2021.
5 years ago. I remember that.
But
team.
again, you forget just because they haven't, had the postseason success. Dame was there, right?
2
Hitting
years ago.
threes. They have that dude AJ Green was hitting threes. They had Connaughton was hitting threes. They had some 3-point shooters that he was kicking out to.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
we're talking about some years ago. Because
Just a couple years. Again, it was just a couple years ago. Again, Giannis didn't really play last year, so you can't really use last year. You have to use the year that he was playing fully, right? So you have to go back 2 or 3 years. I get that, but
But then on the flip side, Miami's a place people want to be, not just basketball.
I guess.
Just
Yeah, of course.
lifestyle-wise, right?
Of course.
the city.
They have a culture there, and now you have Bam, you have Giannis. I think they still have Wiggins on the roster.
Yes, Wiggins. Sorry, Wiggins is the other starter.
You still have Norman Powell. I think they'll be able to draw in the likes of a player type to like a Steve Novak, who'll come in, hang out in the corner, and can knock down threes, and you don't expect much else from him. You could draw a couple of those guys that will now open up the floor. It's Miami at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So I think
They're going to be competitive. I didn't say Miami's going to be bad. No, don't get me wrong.
yeah,
I'm talking about Giannis choosing that to be the path where he's like, okay, I'm going to go get my other championship here. That's why I'm like, I'm not sure if that makes much sense to me. The team on paper, I think they did gut their bench and everything like that. They're going to have to fill that, let Pat Riley do his work. But Mitchell, Powell, Wiggins, Giannis, Bam is a decent five, especially in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
They're going to win games. Giannis is going to be doing his thing. And so you wonder about, again, by the time you get to the playoffs and how hard they play, where's the bench? Are you going to run out of gas, right? Is Giannis going to stay healthy? Because a part of the reason why people thought it would work with Tatum is Tatum is the guy leading the Celtics in points, rebounds, assists, all that stuff, right? Giannis is the guy on the Bucks leading them in points, rebounds, all that. So neither one had to take on a heavy load if they were playing next to each other, right? Preserve their bodies come playoff time. Now, on the Heat,
Giannis doesn't necessarily have to be the best defender. They can let Bam do some of that.
well, I could be talked into him not having to take such a heavy load defensively because of Bam, and then obviously Wiggins is good defensively as well. But I think he's going to have to do a lot on the offensive end.
So
Yes.
I think it's going to be similar to what he was doing in Milwaukee, but a little less. Because, again, you still have Bam. Bam's going to be a solid, at worst, 16 points per game. At worst.
But they're both going to unless you have Bam was shooting threes before. Is he going to go back to shooting threes? Because they're both going to operate in the paint.
Well, I mean,
Because that's where Bam is a free throw line guy. That's where he operates.
yeah, I think that would work, though. I think they could be a high-low tandem. Because we know Giannis's jumper is not consistent enough where Bam is. That
Bam got a
17-footer,
consistent free throw shooter. Yeah.
17-footer, 15-footer Bam, that's like his bread and butter, right?
Mhm.
Giannis could clean up around that if it's not falling through. And I believe that, Norman Powell going to not make some threes. Wiggins can also score. Wiggins will like to attack. I think based off of who they can get to just hang out in the corner, a three guy. They just need a guy to hang out in the
They
corner.
do need to get someone.
Right? And they'll be able to find something, right?
If they find a sharpshooter or two, they're going to be pretty dangerous.
Yes.
If they can find a couple shooters.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to be looking out for.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You can go in and shit. I mean, I don't really know by numbers, but Utah has a shit ton of players that you can pick up from them for marbles if they're decent shooters, right? I feel the
It
same
doesn't
way.
pay the tank anymore. So I don't know if Utah's going to be offloading players like that. Don't pay the tank anymore.
Well, I mean, and so I think that's the thing. They had a lot of young guys that they were sitting. Also, Brooklyn's another team. You can go and look and see who they have. Hey, this guy.
That's true.
I mean, again, contractually, I don't know what's happening, but if I'm Miami, I'm calling Landry Shamet. Hey, I saw what you did with the Knicks. We're Miami. We can give you some extra dollars that they probably can't give you. You get what I'm saying? There's that opportunity because Landry Shamet surprised me the way he was knocking down shots like that.
He was huge for them.
Yeah. So
some of those shots during the Spurs, like trying to come back. Some of those shots were backbreaking. Yeah.
And so, again, we all know Pat Riley is a genius. He's going to figure out how to do little pulls and tugs here and there, and they'll end up with, by October, season opener, don't be surprised if Miami has two shooters that you're like, okay, now this if they're healthy, it could be a little scary.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference next year, and originally when Giannis ended up in Miami, right? So the trade comes through, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, now where do I slot them in the Eastern Conference? And I don't think Boston's done making moves, but if you think of, like the top four in the East being New York, Boston, Cleveland, Detroit, right? Then you add Indiana should probably be back in the mix because of Hallie. Maybe.
Nah.
You
Not
think
that high.
again, I don't necessarily know if that high. I mean, I'm looking at the top 6 spots. I don't. So you think the Pacers are going to end up as a play-in team?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
I don't know.
I think they had an unbelievable run, but then that team essentially got broken up. Even though Halliburton
If
got
they're-
injured, that team pretty much got broken up.
If they were gonna do it, it was gonna be that year. I
Yeah.
don't think they'll ever.
You never say never. I think Halliburton's pretty valuable in the league. And I'm not going to say he's going to turn it around for them to be the number 1 seed or anything like that or go all the way to the conference finals or the finals. But I think Indiana is going to be more competitive than people give them credit for with him coming back. I think they're going to, establish their team in such a way.
He's their
I'm not-
piece, though, because if you think about it, they got rid of Turner.
Mm-hmm.
They got Zubac. Zubac's not as fast and athletic, so he doesn't fit the mold that they had, right?
Yeah.
They got rid of Benedict Mathurin. Like, they got rid of some key pieces that was part of that team that now I have to see it for me to say, hey.
I'm just looking at the Eastern Conference. Sometimes, there's teams that surprise you. I just think the Pacers are one of the teams that's in the mix for a top 6, maybe 7 spot. So maybe possibly the play-in. But you're looking at, those teams. I don't know how much I believe in Orlando based on what I saw, right? Are they going to be a top 6 team?
Honestly.
So I think Miami then slots into that top 5, 6 in the East, right, as an actual playoff team. Yeah. And, from there we'll see. I think the East is going to surprise you some. The Hornets may be higher than they were
If you're
last
looking
year.
for a team
I don't know if they're going to stay as.
LaMelo.
So
If you're looking for a team to surprise you, honestly, I'm looking at the Wizards.
I was gonna say that. I'm not. So I didn't end up finishing. The Hornets, I think, slot up. I think it's a big if because it's always if Anthony Davis is healthy.
Oh,
But with DeBonsa, Trae Young has a chip on his shoulder. Koulibaly. The Wizards got a little something that they can work with to be competitive. They're not going to be a doormat anymore.
Which
You know what I mean? They
honestly-
could be a little frisky. I still see them as a playing team, though, possibly. But they could be a little frisky. So I'm looking at the Eastern Conference. I absolutely think that, yes, Miami now can slot into one of those top 6 teams. But I still think the East is kind of up for grabs. And it's New York at the top right now, right, without seeing any other moves that have happened. But I'm not all of a sudden right now after the trade be like, oh yeah, Miami can go ahead and go win the East. I'm not ready to say that.
no,
I'm
not
looking
yet.
at
But by October, you'll probably have a different feel when they get the little shooters that they're gonna need.
I'll
to
see who the
complement.
shooters are. Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a big deal.
But honestly, to your point about Anthony Davis, the Wizards have a safety net if he's not able to stay healthy. Alex Sarr is, I think, very underrated.
But he's not AD.
And-
Underrated
And
in
you-
what sense? Because he's this is his 2nd season, right?
Yeah.
I'm not impressed by what I've seen, so I can't say he's underrated because he hasn't performed, and that's a bad team. So when you have a bad team and you're not able to shine, I get it's considered empty calories, but if you can't show me empty calories on a bad team, I can't say you're underrated.
Yeah. He needs time
His
before I can
scoring isn't
properly
up
rate
there,
him.
but he's a great rim protector, and that's like, for the most part, what you're missing with AD.
Well, I mean, if you're
AD wants to
you're
play the
about
4 anyway.
6'10", between 6'10" and 7 foot, and somewhat athletic, I would hope you could protect the rim. You know what I mean? That's not really saying too much because a lot of the guys that are in that range, like the Triple J's that are 6'10" and athletic, are good rim protectors. But what else are you bringing to the table? Because another knock for Triple J, he's not really a good rebounder.
At all.
So with Sarr, again, he's coming to his 3rd season. He's going to have a couple stars around him that maybe make the game easier for him. But I need to see it before I can even just throw out the underrated thing because he's rated right where he should be. He was a top 2 pick, and,
I need to see more.
because you're on a bad team. You look at Cooper Flag. their team was essentially depleted, and he decided towards the end of the season to go on a run to win Rookie of the Year and was getting empty calories. That's someone you could say, wow, like he can actually do something. Even though their team was losing and everything, he was still doing something. Sarr, with the team that was bad, they just had the number one pick, right? What was he doing that makes you say, there's something there? I didn't see it.
I think he was averaging about like 18 a game, but his like pitch, I want to say, he's not like he's a better defender than he is a scorer.
Okay.
To Mo's point,
And you're getting a lot of scoring from. I believe you were getting a lot of scoring from Trey Johnson last year. Too.
yeah. To Mo's point, empty calories. This is the Professional Basketball Association. It's not easy to get. It's not like people are just saying like, okay, this is a bad team. Let's let the rookie go off. You got to earn your empty calories in the NBA, right? So people saying, oh, Cooper Flag's on a bad team. He can get to do whatever he want. They're not just going to let him go off, right? So you got to earn, right? You got to earn your empty calories.
Because you're the focal point.
This isn't summer league, right? So, and a lot of these people who are supposed to be, that you can play NBA ball, you can shine in the summer league. But in an NBA game, even those bench guys who are trying to earn their minutes, they don't want rookies coming in and just getting empty calories. So, to Mo's point, I need to see it from him. I don't watch a lot of Wizards ball, but I do remember specifically watching him try to play against the Celtics. Tatum embarrassed them, and the Celtics embarrassed them. So I need to see a little bit more. Obviously, the Celtics are a championship, caliber team. So I'm being a little bit unfair to him, but I need to see more to basically say that, oh, let's watch out for Sarr, right? Okay, show me something this season, because I think the Wizards are going to be exciting to watch if AD is healthy. So now I'll get to watch some more of Sarr, because I think the Wizards might get some television time then.
Oh, yeah, they have to.
Yeah,
The number one
so-
draft pick, it's
yeah.
going to happen.
So
Moving on, you got the LaMelo trade, as you mentioned. I don't think that was good for either team.
I think the Hornets did great.
I think the Timberwolves came up on that because Julius Randle, he's not
don't.
really.
No,
He's not
Julius-
someone that they could rely on. He was supposed to be the next guy because they traded him for Cat, not straight up because DiVincenzo was part of that trade too, but he was supposed to be the next guy for Ant-Man, like that second guy. And I feel like especially in the playoffs, it was like Dosunmu and McDaniels. Like I feel like those became more of the guy because Julius just didn't seem to get it done. And with the fact that DiVincenzo went down, right, it's an Achilles injury. So getting a point guard like a LaMelo who has no problem getting off the ball, he's exciting, he's young, he likes to get up and down. Mike Conley wasn't going to bring that to the table.
I mean, Randall wasn't in that trade though. He got shipped to the Nets.
No. So they already
Oh, okay,
shipped
okay.
off Randall before that trade. I
Yeah.
think the Timberwolves are crazy. I'm not the only person that feels this way. I think the Timberwolves. What were the T-Wolves missing last year? Why didn't they go further in the playoffs?
I would say, I mean, they lost DiVincenzo, some guard play.
Ant might not have been 100% healthy.
That too.
They lost DiVincenzo, and Randall didn't play well. You already shipped off Randall, right?
Yep.
And you're going to get back DiVincenzo at some point. You're going to allow Ant to get healthy at some point, right? So at some point, you're going to be whole next year. Now, you do need to fill in that Randall spot. I get it. But now you trade off Nas Reed, which is, in my opinion, is bad.
That was a bad.
And a whole bunch of picks, right, to get LaMelo just so Ant can play more off ball because he doesn't like to deal with. He basically went to the front office and said, "I'm not happy and I don't like dealing with double teams." So they're like, "All right, we're gonna get you a point guard so you can play more off ball." They basically catered to Ant. To me, even though it's not the exact same thing, it's similar to the situation where the Bucks were scared of losing Giannis, even though they eventually lost him anyway. They made the crazy trade for Dame, lose Holiday, and a team that was making semi-deep playoff runs. I don't know if this is going to hurt the Wolves. LaMelo is exciting,
Yes, he is.
but did you hurt yourself because you're trying to chase You know what I mean? I don't think this brings them closer to beating San Antonio or Oklahoma City.
I think it brings them farther. Oh, those teams are teams that are good at the front court. You lose Nas Reed.
I
Gobert's
just-
your
And
only.
he was your sixth man.
Yeah,
I just
you only.
I
have
don't like
Gobert as
this
a
trade
five.
for the Wolves. I think the Hornets, I think they, they got all this, draft capital now that I feel like the Hornets can start to build more. You know what I mean?
But now who's their point guard? Who's running
Kobe
the show?
White. They just re-upped on Kobe White.
I hear you, but I mean, Kobe White, when he was the guy, not really the guy in Chicago, get you about 18 here and there.
He's okay, but they're not looking for him to be the guy. They want Brandon Miller to be the guy. So now you put more stock offensively in Brandon Miller than LaMelo just kind of doing his own thing all the time, right? You cook more through Brandon Miller, and Kobe White's just going to be that guy, like you said, like a little 16, 18. They don't need more for him than
But I
that.
think
And Khan too.
even while
And Khan gets more.
but I think so when they traded for Kobe White and what he was doing in their little winning run and whatever the case may be, that was based off of LaMelo though, doing what he does, setting this guy up. Now you have him supposed to run the show. That's gonna take away from because he would.
You talk about in the playing game, in that crazy playing game, Kobe was doing that on his own. He wasn't getting set up.
I'm saying in general, like
Okay.
because I watch a lot of their games because like again they're young and exciting.
Right.
I like Miles Bridges, man. I hope he finally gets a sniff of the actual playoffs, for him. But I'm just saying, I think it's going to be a lot different having Kobe as your primary number one in terms of like your point guard, right? I think, yeah, you want to run the offense through Miller and you got Khan and everything like that. But I think what LaMelo brings offensively as a scorer himself allowed him to be able to do the facilitating that he did. Also being at 6'7". Now you go Kobe White.
So
Yeah, I agree with your point.
The Hornets again. Last year I was rooting for them to make the playoffs. They were a fun team to watch.
mhm.
Insert Nas Reed. Now he's their vet.
Listen, Charles Lee, he came from the Celtics. He's a good coach. They got the picks. They got Reed. I think what they do is similar style to what Missoula Ball is. Not 100%. It's not like they're going to be putting up threes. But they don't need the traditional point guard thing, right? You move the ball around, try to find the open guy, try to get mismatches for Brandon Miller. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like what they call it, seal hunting or whale hunting, whatever Missoula called it, right? Like I think it's like seal hunting. So you play those mismatches, you get Khan some open threes. They are going to be fun and exciting. And Kobe White, he can't run around with the ball. He's not LaMelo, but I don't think they're going to do like a traditional point guard thing with him.
But to your point about the mismatches, what mismatches does Kobe White bring to the table?
Not necessarily him. They're not going to go seal hunting for him.
No,
like
but
I
what I'm
said,
saying is
okay.
You're looking to like get these screens and have these mismatches, but
Yeah, let him get downhill.
when you got a smaller PG, you're not too worried. With LaMelo, he can shoot over the smaller guys and he can go by some of the bigger guys.
How's Brunson winning?
Yeah,
I'm not saying Kobe White is Brunson.
Okay, but
but still, smaller guys can get into the paint and still kick out. You know what I mean? And still,
Yeah, but the smaller guys we think of, Brunson, the Trey Youngs, the guys that are it. Kobe's not it. So
he don't need to be Brunson or Trey. He don't need to be that though. They're not
Right.
asking him to do that.
I don't know.
But he's gonna play pick and roll. Why not?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
when I look at the Hawks, I agree with you. I prefer the Hawks when like Kobe White is your sixth man. And you have
Not the
Mi-
Hawks.
You mean
You know-
Hornets? You mean Hornets?
the Hornets.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need a star point guard, but a point guard who's more able to play make closer to what LaMelo has.
Yeah. I like Kobe White. He's a good player, but I think the point guard will possess some challenges for potentially. We could be wrong. We got to just wait and see. But just at the surface, I can see that being a spark that they're missing. But
When I look at the Timberwolves, though, I think their defense is going to be dramatically worse next year.
yeah, I can see that.
Because LaMelo's not a good defender. You lose Nas Reed, so now you have no.
I don't. You know what? I can't say that because they got Dosumu, who's decent. They still got Jaden,
Yeah.
who's actually
Those
a
two
good
guys will
defender.
be really good. Yeah.
Ant-Man's a good defender. We can't, dismiss that. And although I think he's somewhat overrated, you still got 7'3" Gobert protecting the rim. So I don't think they're going to be all that bad.
But outside of
They're not going to
Gobert,
be bad
you
defensively.
also don't have front court depth.
Well,
I don't think the
Yes,
Wolves
yes.
necessarily got better. I think they got exciting,
yes.
and I think they gave Anthony Edwards what he wanted because he complained, and they want to keep
It's
their
not the
star
first time he's
happy.
complained about that either.
They want their star happy. Well, so
Because he
if
mentioned
you're-
that before about like, yo, they keep double teaming me or whatever. And I think he reached out to MJ about how to navigate through that. And I like Ant-Man, but
it's a knock.
yeah, you can't.
You
can't
gotta
complain
you,
about double teams.
you
Yeah.
gotta learn.
all the greats.
I'm not even gonna even go back in time. Let's just go through right now. People want to put you on a tier with Tatum and everyone else. Tatum went through the mud with the Spo Heat and getting beat up and triple teamed and Tatum rules. He molded through that. He got molded by it. Double teams don't phase him no more. Traps don't phase him no more. If you want to be that guy, you need to learn how to deal with a double team and a trap.
Not only deal with
You're
it,
the
but
guy. You got to learn how to deal with it.
I think the most important part that we might be overlooking, he needs to learn how to trust his team. Because you don't want to go too far back, but a lot of the greats mention having to trust their team during double teams. I don't see Ant as someone who trusts his team like that.
Those
Like-
guys were hitting buckets. Tasumu and McDaniels were hitting buckets in the playoffs for you. DiVincenzo,
Moving forward, he should, right?
but why wouldn't you trust those guys now? They were on your team just now. I don't know why you wouldn't trust them now.
But it's definitely a trust thing because, like, we've all seen Last Dance where Jordan talked about, all right, I'm
I was
coming
gonna-
to you, I'm trusting you, because he's getting double teamed, right? Understanding. Ant Edwards have to come to that, like, yo, all right, I'm coming to you. Like, you, not only do you have to trust them, but you got to give your guys confidence. If they know, like, all right, you're depending on me in a big moment, you're coming to me in a big moment, it's gonna, not all the time, but it's gonna sometimes elevate them to be ready in the moment. You know what I mean? So,
Do you see him? Is he ready to lead like that, though?
I mean,
Do you see him being a leader yet?
I think at this point in his career, he's.
he's a leader in the sense of like how he defends, like things like he shows you that he's playing both sides. of the
Lead
ball.
by
He shows
example.
you
Of course, he
that
plays
he's a
hard.
hard
Yeah.
worker.
Mhm.
But in that other form of leadership where he's like, yo, listen, I need you. I'm depending on you. I don't think he's there yet.
I think Nas Reed was kind of like a leader in that locker room too,
Yeah, they're gonna
with
miss
with
him.
his play and everything. Like if you watch, I watch body language and stuff like that a lot. Like think about like the Bobby Portises and stuff like that, right? People who when they see that an opportunity to put their foot on an opponent's throat or get the crowd involved or they're on the road, they're like, nah, I need a silencer bucket. Yo, Nas Reed was huge for them. He's been huge for them. They're not going to have that off the bench right now. So
And-
Ant needs to step up and be a vocal leader, and I haven't seen him do that yet. This is not a great look for him. I know that he was complaining about double teams. I thought he went in the lab, worked with Jordan and other people to learn how to deal with it. But now you went and got people. I'm not saying he got them traded. He probably didn't ask for Nas Reed to be traded. But you said, I need a point guard or someone to take the pressure off me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good look for him. You're still going to deal with double teams.
Yeah. Really quick too, you said Bobby Portis and we forgot. He was part of that Miami trade.
He did.
So
He did. I mean, he's not a sharpshooter.
no, not
But
sure,
he's
he's,
the-
He
one of the
can knock
guys
it
you just
down.
mentioned.
Pat
One of the-
Riley knows
He's one of
certain
those-
guys. He's one of those guys. So, yep, it is smart by Pat Riley because Bobby Porter is one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moving on, this wasn't really a big trade, but I thought the Pistons made a great move in acquiring Isaiah Show from the Thunder.
Need shooters.
Cade needed those shooters. They got one in Isaiah Show. He's up, not even just on the offensive end, but he's a great 3-and-D player. They were looking for a guy that can knock down shots in a pinch. I think that's what they missed in that Cleveland series.
Yeah. I think it was a little more than that for the Cleveland series, for Detroit, but that's definitely a good pickup for them. And I think not having Stu there no more, sometimes the antics can interrupt the flow of the game. He was there, the heart of the team, the energy guy, things of that nature. He actually, in my opinion, was more impactful in the playoffs than what's their big?
Duran.
Yeah, than Jalen Durham.
Well, that's not hard.
Wow. But I think this is gonna force Durham to step up even more moving forward because he doesn't have the guy that's gonna come in and pick up his energy and his slack anymore. So it's gonna force him to have to really level up. And then you got shooters. So having a shooter helps bigs all the time because now it could allow them to play one-on-one on the low. Not so much that he's a back to the basket type of guy, but give him some of those opportunities because he's a man-child. So I think it's good for Detroit, but I think also Detroit, I don't think they duplicate the same success they had.
Yeah.
I personally think any solid pickup for the Pistons is good. They just need a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so Isaiah Joe, this is a good thing, right? He knows how to win, got a championship, 3-and-D guy. Can't have enough, 3-and-D people in the league, right? They obviously are going to run through Cade. I think some of the criticism of Duran obviously is warranted. He didn't play his best in the playoffs. But during the regular season, he did step up in Cade's absence. I wonder if he just has to learn at this age how to take care of his body. Maybe he ran out of gas a little bit. Making a little bit of excuse for him, I don't know. But I do think Detroit's going to be good. I think Bickerstaff's a good coach.
Great coach, I think.
I think, he got a bad rap in Cleveland, but I think that he knows how to win. I think they have the right formula. They want to be tough and physical, and they want to play through Cade. They have an identity. And if they can get another shooter or, continue to I'm not going to say it's like Miami, but I think get some more shooters and playmakers around Cade, right? Guys who can knock down a bucket. I think they're going to be all right. But Brad Stevens said in his presser, you're not going to have many tanking teams. The Eastern Conference is going to be tougher this year. A lot of the teams you're playing are going to be tougher. Like, just look at the slate. Like I said, New York, Boston, Miami, Cleveland, Detroit, Orlando, right? Washington's going to be frisky. Charlotte, right? The Eastern Conference is not going to be no easy teams that you go through, right? Like, so Wednesday night, we got Wednesday night, we got Washington. That's going to be a tough environment to win in Washington on that Wednesday night, especially if it's a primetime Wednesday night. Rookie A.J. DeBuns. So they're going to play hard. I forgot about the Hawks. We sitting here talking about the Eastern Conference teams. I forgot about Atlanta. So the Eastern Conference is going to be tougher. But I do think Detroit, I'm not going to say duplicate their success and get that deep in the postseason, but they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're going to be in the play-in. Yeah, so.
I don't think this trade hurt OKC too much, though. They're just way too
Second
deep.
apron rules. It comes for everyone. They gotta get rid of some people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're okay.
They
They're
made this
comfortable.
trade because they can.
Right.
Someone was saying, I forget who was saying it. I don't know if it was Wendy or someone else. They basically said, yeah, with the draft, they basically are plugging and playing. I mean, they already made the trade for McCain, right? So people could step in, right? Oh, I lose this person, so now
I
I already have, you know what I mean? So they already have people step
He was
in.
already getting acclimated because he was coming up in some playoff moments. So now
Right.
subtract Isaiah Joe,
Insert more McCain.
and now let's see what our draft picks that we did get or whatever the case may be. OKC is gonna, as long as they have health and their core nucleus, they'll be all right for years to come.
And they're saying they might not be able to re-sign Hartenstein. They drafted that. You know what I mean? They drafted another big, right? So
I think he's gonna be great for them.
so listen, they're basically saying, "Hey, we replenishing." Like it's a factory. Sam Presti knows what he's doing.
Been doing it for a while.
So trading Isaiah Joe, all they did was just acquire picks, and they already got a player to replace him. So
Speaking of the draft, what are your thoughts on any of the picks?
Nothing really surprised me. The one thing I was curious about was Washington and Utah. I know Utah wanted AJ. AJ is a Brockton native. Did his prep school in Utah, college in Utah. Utah wanted him. I was curious to see what was going to happen because at that point, Utah has a whole bunch of young guys. They had the second draft pick. I felt like Washington could have really said they wanted almost anything they wanted, and they probably would have got it because Utah wanted AJ. They didn't end up doing that. They got Peterson, so I'm curious to see what that dynamic's going to look like with Keontae George, Peterson. Utah has Triple J, Laurie Marketing.
Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey I thought was going to be part of a package to trade up to get AJ or whatever. But we'll see what that happens. We'll see how that happens. But aside from that, everything else was kind of like expected. There was nothing that surprised me in the draft.
Yeah, I think the Jazz, like, probably not this year, but I think in a few years down the line they can like really start to improve, especially if Peterson can stay healthy.
I think Washington made the right move. I think that was the
Absolutely.
right number one pick, right, for what they want to build going forward. They got the bigs. They got Trae Young locked in. You get the Bonsa. You insert him there at the wing position. I think they made the right move. Ainge is a smart dude. So I think, you obviously take you take Peterson, right, from a value perspective as far as the second pick of the draft. If you need to make some moves because you're guard heavy or this or that, he'll make some moves. I'm sure they're going to make some moves.
So much
Yeah.
players. Who
They're gonna make
haven't
some
played.
moves.
They can, they can shuffle out and do some things.
They're going to make some moves. And, the first couple picks of the draft honestly didn't really surprise me all that much. Obviously, OKC, getting what they got. Like, they're a very smart team. I'm biased because obviously I'm a Celtics fan. I like Chris Sinak Jr., right? I think you need more size and rebounding, right? More versatile bigs on the Celtics. Because Kata, he's a good big, but in terms of like versatility and switchability, it's not really him. He's like a solid like 5. Like that's what you play, right? And I think, watching the highlights from this kid, he can switch 4-5, you know what I mean? Like
Snack reminds me of Mobley.
I think he's got some versatility to him, so I think that'll be good. So I'm really excited about him. And some people were saying that as far as, switchable bigs in the draft, that he probably should have went earlier. So him falling to Boston was a great thing. We'll have to see how he fell or why he fell, but I think they say he's pretty raw and he's gonna have to be developed. But I think that was a good pickup. The Bulls obviously, Chicago's looking to turn the page, so good for them making the right pick. The Nets and Kings though, everyone in that building thought they were taking a cuff, and he ended up going to Sacramento. So people keep saying like, watch the Brown and Acuff like dynamic, because was it the right pick? Was it the wrong pick? Right? Because Nets fans are already excited to take Acuff. That's what they needed. So
Acuff's career is over.
you think his career is over?
He's on the Kings.
Oh, that's why you think his career is over. Yeah, Sacramento's tough.
Sacramento's the death sentence now.
Sacramento's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah, but look, people thought Washington is where you went to die,
Well,
and they're gonna
now
be
they're-
excited this
yeah.
year. Exciting this year. So
I think the Warriors got a gem in Yaxel. You pair him with Steph, I think you have something. Obviously, they're looking to make some moves. We'll see if they actually do.
yeah, I mean they re-signed Horford. Like the Warriors want to compete. They're gonna milk this Steph window as long as they can. And you got to give them credit.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
But not only that, I think a lot of people kind of quickly forgot Steph had no help last year because Jimmy got hurt.
Jimmy got hurt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was also out for a while. You know what I mean? So I think, again, that competitive drive. Curry is hungry. He wants another ring.
He does.
It's similar. It's probably not spoken about, but I know it's similar to when the whole Shaq and Kobe thing, right? They split. Shaq got one, and Kobe was just he needed that. And then when they got the fifth one, press conference, it's one more than Kobe, one more than Shaq.
Yeah.
Curry wants to have one more than LeBron. He wants to be in this era that guy. He wants to say that. You know what I mean? I know he wants that so bad. He wants to, at the very least, be able to compete for that. And I think that's what drives him. Because he's already the greatest shooter of all time. Everything he's doing from here on out is just continuously like adding to
There's nobody
his
close.
record. You know what I mean?
There's nobody close.
And I think it's going to be a long time before anybody touches him in that department.
But that's interesting. So then, what's LeBron's era? Is he in multiple eras because he played so long? Because if Steph's like, I'm going to compete with you, I'm going to get one more ring. Then you had Kobe who had 5. You had Tim Duncan who had 5, right? So where is LeBron just kind of, I got a ring here, I got a ring there. He's getting a couple rings in a couple eras. What's LeBron's era?
I would say his era is from when he was on the Heatles to probably the bubble.
But Tim Duncan racked up. Actually,
Tim
I think Duncan only got one more.
From the Heatles.
Yeah, you're right. Just one more from the
They
Heatles.
faced
Yeah.
each other twice. They split.
Just one more from the Heatles.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that would be his era, if you will, because that's for me. I believe that was his only real opportunity to actually win.
Sorry, you said that was his era. That's when Steph and the Warriors got all their rings.
Exactly.
So that's the thing, right? Like that's when Steph and the Warriors got their dynasty. They got all their rings during that era.
You know what I mean? So because that's when what did LeBron go to 10 straight finals? You know what I mean? So or 8? I think it was 8 straight. He went with 4 Miami.
He didn't really. Again, it's LeBron, right? I'm not trying to diss LeBron, but your Eastern Conference Finals competition was baby Tatum and Brown. That was your Eastern Conference Finals competition.
Well, I mean, the Raptors had a little.
Yeah.
The baby Raptors, what they called them. Right?
Oh, well, they called him LeBronto, right? Cause,
You know?
exactly.
Because, I mean, again, to your point about the East, it was when LeBron finally got through that Boston squad.
Mm-hmm.
Melo's Knicks weren't really competitive against that Miami team. Miami always got their way with them. There was
Dwight's
really,
Magic.
Who?
Dwight's Magic.
But
No,
by
that was
time,
by that time. I think they were all
by
set.
that
I
time
think
it was over 'cause
by
Dwight
by
made
the
it to
by the
finals
Miami
in
Heat
09.
time.
What would
Yeah.
what year exactly?
Dwight made it to the finals in 09, lost to LA. But I think Boston and Orlando was clashing, and then when Miami came up, Boston was still there until finally when Boston got beat by Miami. That's when it was.
Yeah, because from like 2011, right? The Heat went because that's when the Mavericks, right? And 2012,
They beat the Thunder.
right? And in 2013,
Beat the Spurs.
beat the Spurs, and the Spurs came back in 2014,
And beat them.
and then 2015 was that the first year of the Warriors?
Yeah, he went to Cleveland, and then that was the Warriors.
Yeah. And then they came back one in 2016,
And then lost
and then back to back because then KD went to the Warriors. Yeah. So in the Eastern Conference, it was really just, I mean, LeBron was racking them up from Miami to Cleveland. You know what I mean? He was just racking them up. And his competition really was an aging Boston and then a younger Boston, right? In Toronto. So
One last note on the draft. I think the Grizzlies made a mistake with Boozer. I don't think he's gonna be a bad player. I don't think he's gonna be a first round pick talent.
So you have him out the first round. You don't have him out of the lottery. You have him out of the first round?
Yes.
Based off of the players that were in the draft?
I thought you
Just-
were saying like he's not as good as Wilson or someone that went a couple spots behind him.
Well, no,
You think he's not even a first round talent?
I mean,
I think he's definitely a first round talent. Whether or not you think he should have been a lottery pick is one thing, but first round, he wouldn't have dropped that
No,
far.
100% he was going in the top 5.
Yeah.
Just simply off of his body of work in his freshman year. Like, I think if you really look at it, only AJ and Peterson are the two guys you could have said had a better freshman year than Boozer did. Right?
Yeah, those guys were consensus like 1 and 2. I mean,
Yeah.
some people thought Boozer should have went 1. I don't think he was better than the other two guys, but I mean, his hype was real, and you can look at Boozer, and obviously, people don't like Duke, but playing in that system, he can translate to the NBA very well, right? Now, I don't know how Memphis is going to treat him and what their plans are. They talk about, trading Ja Morant. They don't know if they want him to be the future of the team and stuff like that. So do they build around Boozer? I have no idea. I don't know what the future of Memphis is. They're the one team.
Ja's the last piece there because they got rid of Bane. They got rid of Dylan Brooks. They got rid of Triple J. He's the last guy standing.
And they're trying to trade him, I think.
And they want him out.
Yeah. They're trying to turn the page. They're the one team that voted against the new tanking rules. Because I think they really do want to start all over, right? I think they wanted to be at the bottom of next year as well, right? But they didn't want to be penalized for tanking. Like, Memphis is the one team that said, yeah, we don't really like the new tanking rules.
maybe the first round was a bit of an exaggeration, but I do think is overrated.
Not
as
a lottery.
prospect.
You didn't think he was a lottery. You didn't think he was like top 7, 8, whatever.
No, lottery is 14. The
Oh,
lottery is technically 14.
14 is technically the lottery? I thought it was like, I mean, if you're the 13th pick, it's still lottery? Oh, actually, you're right. The lottery ping pong balls do go up to that many. Yeah, you're right.
Because like Memphis right now is lacking shooting, and
They're lacking
Boozer's
everything.
not gonna.
Let's just be honest. They're lacking everything.
Yeah, Memphis needs a whole entire new overhaul. So
I don't.
you take
to
the best
your
player
point,
if you're Memphis.
I don't think Boozer is going to be the guy that helps turn that thing around, but I can't knock Boozer because of that, of where he landed. I think he did everything he needed to do collegiately to put him in position to be a top 5 draft pick. Grizzlies see something in him. They want to pair him with Zach Edey. I don't know how well of a shooter he is, so he's gonna have to groom his game a little bit to fit
Yes.
whatever. Because Memphis is no longer grit and grind. They're also no more of the explosive John Morant type. They don't know what they are. They're obviously in that process of the rebuild. So we'll have to see. But I think Boozer he earned his draft stock.
And honestly, you said they voted against the new tank. I don't
The
even
one
think they
team.
have to tank. I think they'll genuinely be that bad.
Well, the new tanking rules say that if you're the worst team in the league, you don't get the highest ping pong balls.
I feel like so.
Which
There's a
that's my
difference between.
right.
and I think that's why they voted against it. They probably knew they were going to be the worst team in the league.
I was gonna say, being the worst team and tanking is two different things.
It is.
If you don't have the
Yes.
talent and you're losing, but you're playing your guys, as opposed to you have guys that you're sitting out. We saw Utah.
Utah
sit
was taken.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's a tank. I think there might be some fine print we don't know about this tanking rule because if you are playing your guys and they just aren't good enough to beat teams, you're gonna as a bad team you're gonna pick up wins because other teams are gonna struggle. You'll have your best night. I don't see Memphis getting 26 wins this year.
I think the reason they did it is they want every team playing hard every night. They want, the defending champion Knicks, when they go into Memphis, they don't want Memphis to just lay down because they're tanking and then the Knicks win by 100. They don't want that, right? So they want you to actually play. Now, if you get beat, if you play hard and still lose,
Which when
I don't know. But how does the NBA regulate that?
Because, all right, prime example, right? We saw the New York Knicks beat Atlanta by 50 in the playoffs. They were trying.
that was an elimination game.
I don't know what happened to Atlanta. in
No,
that
but
game.
what I'm saying is, this is a playoff game. You
I
know
know.
you're playing your best players. You're trying to.
I mean,
win
obviously
the
they're not trying to tank. Yeah, they're not trying to lose.
So what I'm saying, it happens, right? If your guys are playing, I don't know what the specific verbiage of the rules, but if you're playing your starters their normal minutes,
Mhm.
right? Not, oh, I'm gonna play my stars. Okay, I'm gonna pull them. You pull them in the third quarter when you're down 40, and let your
Okay.
other guys play. That makes sense, right? But you don't play them the first half and then sit them down and say, hey, I fulfilled the obligation to start my guys. If you're playing your guys, their normal minutes, based off of their productivity, I think that's how you go about it. But we'll see.
Which I'm not sure if this is true, but to the tanking point, I think this is something that should have been done years ago if they were going to do it. There was a year that the Mavericks were in prime playoff competition, and I'm not sure this is why I did it. This is what I heard. Luka got sat for the remainder of the season so that they could have a mere chance at getting Wemby.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA has been tracking tanking for a little bit. It's not the first time that they heard about the tanking stuff, and they've seen, yeah, right. And Luka got hurt, and they came back and they sat him out of precaution or whatever. Same thing with Milwaukee. They were fighting with Giannis about whether or not he needed to sit because I feel like Milwaukee wanted to,
The
you know what I
funny
mean?
thing is, Giannis is like, no, I want to play.
He wanted to play. So the NBA has been watching this for a while. So I don't know how you manage all that because to your point, the Memphis could be legitimately bad and end up with the worst record, but they're not going to get the most ping pong balls because the NBA says you got to be better than that. So it's going to be tough. The one team to vote against
It's
it.
interesting how that happens now because you got, and this is just from today's standpoint, June 26, 2026, how I see things. I don't see Memphis getting 26 plus wins. I don't see Milwaukee getting 30 wins. I don't see Utah. I don't see them getting 35 wins, right? I don't see
I think Utah could be
Utah
entertaining
might win
next year.
some games. 'Cause
35.
They don't have Utah doesn't have the opportunity to tank anymore. I don't think like it's not going to do them any good. I think they're going to have to try to play guys to win.
I believe that, but
Yeah.
I still don't think we don't know what they are because of what they've been doing.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, I don't see them getting 35 wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, now
Maybe.
the tanking is gonna eliminate the 14 win teams, 17 win teams potentially.
Yeah, you gotta win games in the NBA. They want parity. They want you to win games. They don't want any 14 win teams.
Which I don't think we'll get that. I don't think
Yeah.
we'll.
Memphis it's not that good that.
Memphis is pretty bad,
Maybe I said
and they're gonna
26,
trade Morant.
And I'm just being
Yeah.
generous because there's gonna be some games where a team's on a back to back and they're gonna rest their guys. And, oh, here comes Memphis with a dub, right? But it's gonna be very intriguing to see how they regulate this whole tanking thing.
Memphis is gonna be bad. Yeah, they're not gonna be very good.
To end this off, I wanted to ask you guys: do you think Jaylen Brown will be traded?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think knowing that your name's been circling the trade rumors for a little bit, dating back to when KD was available, we all understand that's Kevin, Bleep, and Durant, right? But coming off your best statistical season and to have your name in a trade, it's a business, but sometimes things like that can affect you personally. And I think even when he said this was the funnest year he had, I think certain things rub people the wrong way. I think it's time that they just, because he's gonna feel away. He's gonna want out. As much as he says, yeah, me and Tatum, blah blah blah, I believe that to have been true until the front office is still trying to say, hey, what can we get for this guy? What can we? Now he's gonna be like, you know what? Let me get out of here. And then he's gonna, from what I would see, he's gonna want to play against Boston, and he's gonna want to go head to head against Tatum and try to show like, look, this is what you guys were so worried about getting rid of, and he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. I don't see him as this guy who says, oh no, I get it, it's business. Put on his jersey, go out there and then do his thing and be happy with knowing there's still the chance that upstairs is gonna want to try to get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's just my take.
What do you guys think a package would look like then?
So, to go back and answer the previous question, do I think he's going to get traded? Yes. I don't know what the package is going to look like. let me just work through my process here. I don't think Brad Stevens woke up and said, let me trade Jaylen Brown. I think the new ownership, is probably not committed to giving him that extension. I think when Windy and Shams are right, that the Celtics took a look in the mirror and said, how do we, using what we already have on the team right now, how do we get better? You have no other tradable pieces besides Jaylen Brown, right? He's the one that's healthy. Even if you thought about trading Tatum, people would think that you're trolling, and they think that something's wrong with Tatum if Brad Stevens started calling people up to offer his best guy. So Jaylen Brown has already been in trade talks, right? Teams already know what the Celtics are looking for Jaylen Brown. This is something that's going to happen over the course of a couple years, right? For KD and maybe Kawhi and other stuff like that. He's a grown man. He had the best season of his career, right? Where he was ultimate green light number one. He got a taste of that. He wants it. He said he wants to do it in Boston if he could do it for the next 10 years, but Tatum is there, right? So I think he had a conversation with Brad Stevens. I think ownership is like, they may not give him that extension. I think they're going to try to facilitate a trade to where he could go be the number one. I think it's tough because we understand the value that he has. I think other teams are probably not offering the value that he is, right? And so it's going to be a tough process. I don't know what's going to come back, but I don't think it's going to be like a one-for-one type of situation. I think Brad Stevens wants to get multiple pieces to try to put together a contender. He's not going to trade him for a one-for-one, and the salary has to match. Remember, he's still got 3 years of a supermax.
So he's eligible because he was first.
Exactly. So you're talking about like the money has to make sense. So you need to bring multiple players, or I think they were saying they were looking for four first-round picks. I don't know what the package is going to look like. I do think, though, that when the season starts, he's not going to be on the Celtics. I think they're looking for a way to trade him. I think it's going to be a good fresh start for him. I do think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think he's always going to have a chip on his shoulder. That's just the way he plays. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be like, oh, I can't wait to go play Boston and Tatum. I think he just wants a chance to show that I can lead a team, right? So I do think that he gets traded. I think it's serious when ESPN's reporting that, hey, teams are calling the Celtics are calling people. I think ownership is like, you need to improve the roster, but we're not dishing out a ton of money. So Brad Stevens is like, realistically, he's my only tradable piece for the money. It doesn't make any sense. Derek White does not make enough money. Pritchard, none of those people make enough money to make a trade to make it make sense. Jaylen Brown is your only tradable piece.
One thing to your point, I do think Jaylen Brown can be a number one option here. After watching last season, even when Tatum came back, I think an offense where Jaylen Brown is the main scorer and Tatum works more as a facilitator role, I think that kind of offense can work for the Celtics.
But you just, in your own statement, just said he's the facilitator. If Tatum has the ball in his hands, he's the number one. If he's facilitating and controlling, which when he comes back healthy, is going to be the point forward, right? It's not going to be his job to roam completely off ball and go stand in the corner. He doesn't want to do that. They're both grown men. They both want to lead the Celtics. It's not going to work. It worked a couple years ago, right? But now they're both in their prime, 29, 28. They both want to be the number one. I think it's time. Would I love for them to continue to work together and for it to work out? I just don't see it happening. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think they're going to trade him, and I think they're going to put the ball in Tatum's hands. And to some extent, have Pritchard come back to the starting lineup and be that second guy who's controlling the ball. I don't see a Celtics team where Tatum is roaming around, hanging out off ball with Jaylen Brown being the number one option. I don't think that's what Joe Mazzulla wants either.
I don't think being a number one option necessarily means you have to run the offense. Because let's just look at some of the guys like a Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard. Sometimes they get to their spot and get the ball. You know what I mean? So number one.
But that's literally just entry. Because again, Fred FVV is supposed to be the point guard, right, in Houston.
Well, I don't even
He's
this year, just generally speaking.
Okay, I'm just.
Because generally speaking, right, let's even go back to Brooklyn. When Brooklyn had KD, Kyrie, and Harden, Harden was the facilitator, but he wasn't the number one.
Not the
Even
number
even
two.
in Cleveland, he had the ball in his hand. He's the facilitator. That's not necessarily the number one though. The number one option is, oh, this is my guy that I'm running plays for. I want to get him the ball. I want to get him hot, get him going. So it depends on how the team operates.
It depends on how the team operates, yeah. You found it difficult to look for teams because think about it. You go down the line of the top contenders in the league. Ant's got the ball. Joker's got the ball. SGA's got the ball. Brunson's got the ball. You go down the line of these contending teams. Cade's got the ball.
Well,
Your
some
number
of
one
those guys
option
are
is
point guards,
running.
though. Some of those guys are the point guards that are the number one also.
But Jalen's not a point guard. So I see what you're saying, but I'm just saying the number one guy is going to run the offense most of the time. And I don't think I'm not in Missoula's head, but I don't think like I'm interpreting Brad Stevens' presser. He didn't like the way the offense operated at times, right? Like the your turn, my turn, ISO type stuff. Look at some of these teams. I'll just say this, my last point. Look at some of these teams that made deep runs. The Spurs, we'll get to that I don't understand, right? The Thunder, defense, give the ball to SGA. They know what they want to do. The Knicks, defense, give the ball to Brunson. They know what they want to do, right? The Pistons, defense, give the ball to Cade. They know what they want to do. Some of these teams have a clear identity. The Celtics, to me, seem like the only team, right, where it's like, do we run Mazzulla ball to get open three? Is it Brown's turn? Is it Tatum's turn? Like, I feel like they started to lose some of that identity, that definitiveness, right? That's how you blow 20-point leads to the Knicks. It has to be clear. You can't have two lead dogs. That's just my opinion. And so if Jaylen Brown wants to be the lead dog, he's earned that right. Fantastic player. But the Celtics have made it clear they're going to have Tatum be that guy. So if you want to be that guy here, we're going to move you. And I think ownership is like, we're not going to commit 140 extra M's, right, for someone who's a number two. So I think they're going to move him. Wendy and Shams have basically said they don't think he's starting the season on the Celtics. I think when there's smoke, there's fire. I don't know what the return is going to be, but I think they're going to move him. And I think it'd be good for him to have a fresh start somewhere else.
I think if they want to do right by him, they somehow get him to Atlanta, his home. If they want to do right by him. Because
Atlanta competed, and
but they have
Brad,
pieces.
they have pieces, but Brad's going to want, again, the Celtics going to want a lot. So it depends on, Atlanta wants to get better by potentially adding him, right? Mm-hmm. What could Atlanta give up?
But
I have to see what the numbers look like.
Because I don't know that some people were throwing out like, Dyson and Kuminga and a couple other stuff like that. Number one, I don't know if the money works, but I don't know if the Celtics are happy with that return either.
Well, at some point, the Celtics are no longer have leverage because once it gets closer, you're going to have to just, all right, shit. Because
a number of different things could happen. They could give him the extension, right? And then
work on a side and trade.
Or they could not give him the extension. They don't have to, right?
Because he's still under contract.
Exactly. So a number of different things could happen, right? So it's not like they have to trade him before the extension.
It's not like this is the last year of his contract where it's like he can walk.
Exactly. So I just think that they are serious about trading him. Like the Celtics wouldn't be in the news like this about trading Jaylen Brown unless Brad Stevens was actually doing it. And they interviewed Pritchard. And usually, Pritchard, that's his guy. He even wears his sneakers like that's his guy. He goes, it's a business, and, whoever's on the team when the season starts, I'm going to go ball. So if Pritchard's saying that, he best believe he probably thinks they've let it.
Pritchard also is a good PR guy. He's not going to say anything to have you saying, whoa, he said.
I get that, but it's also just one of those things where he made it clear, hey, it's a business. If JB's not on the team, he's not on the team. I think
for one example, I heard the Hornets are aggressively pursuing Jaylen Brown.
Charles Lee, the former Celtic guy, he would probably want, because again, Jaylen Brown fits in there. You know what I mean? Jaylen Brown fits in there. And so I don't think him and Brandon Miller are some sort of like they're not redundant, right? So I think Jaylen Brown fits in there. Charles Lee likes him. He coached him, right? He likes Jaylen Brown's aggressiveness. He likes his leadership. Because the Hornets right now, like, who's the leader in Charlotte right now?
In
Right.
terms of package, though, they're not gonna break up those two guys. We're not gonna get Khan. We're not gonna get Brandon Miller.
So
And-
again, Brad Stevens is going to ask for you to give us a decent return, and Bridges plus is not a return that we're looking at. So
So I don't know what they mean by aggressive, but if they're not willing to give up those two guys, there's no package that.
I mean, aggressive just means, all right, let me throw this at the wall and see what sticks. No, all right, let me throw this at the wall and see what sticks. They
yeah,
could just
that could
going
be
back
keep
and
going
forth,
back and
trying
forth.
to say what that could be what they mean by aggressive is like, hey, I want this. You're like, nah, never mind. All right, well, how about this? That shows aggression because they're like, okay, what about this? Okay, what about this? Okay, what about this? So that's probably what they mean. They probably really just asking, trying to figure out. You've played Madden in 2K, where you try to trade somebody in a season, and they'll say, nah, that's not enough. Now you add a different player, do something because
Yeah.
you want this player, so you're trying to figure out which move, which could stick. I think that's similar to what's going on.
That's where we're gonna end things off, though. Stay tuned next time.
Peace.